Buenos dias, buenos dias. Good day to all. Peace from that part of the BB on to all of you guys. I got a question that was asked, and I figured I'll do a short video. Sorry for the glare of the sun. Try to block it as much as I could, but it's not working that great. But here we go. The question that was put out to me was, do I have to know how to speak Bantu or understand Bantu to be in the tradition, to be in Palo, or to be in a community in an Enzo? The short answer to that question is no, you don't need to speak it, and you don't need to understand it. That's a short answer. The other thing is it beneficial to learn some Bantu? Yes, it is. And when I say beneficial, I mean learning the most used words in the tradition and understanding what those phrases or words mean. Learning some prayers, haramboal. It's beneficial for you also to know, because these will be common, not common, mostly common will be the phrases that we say to one another, the things that the tradition calls for, as far as the name of the plants, the names of certain items and things like that. You would know, understand? And it'll be easier. Plus, you'll start to get a little more fluent little by little once you start picking up little words and understanding what they mean, and you'll be able to add it to your vocabulary more. It's good to know how to say your prayers and how to call upon certain impungos or inkisis in Bantu, because it's a language that is understood by the Congo, but so that does not mean that the Congo people that came to Cuba did not know how to speak Spanish, because they learned. Okay, now we're going to go into a subject that has to do with this, but let me first remind you that these spirits, these infumbas that we usually call upon and work with, don't have limitation of language. Meaning, they're not like us, that we have limitation on the languages that we learn how to speak or understand. They totally different. They're in a spiritual realm, in a place where there's no barrier, there's no limitation of understanding. Why I say this? Well, we all have electricity in our house. Let's go through this little scenario, right? In the United States here, we got 220, which usually runs off, your dryer. If you got an electrical stove, it uses 220 because it needs a lot of power. But the majority of your stuff works either 110, 115, or 120. Let's just keep it at 110 to make it basic. 110 volts. Anything that you plug into your wall usually is running off of 110 volts, 115. Okay. In that electricity, right, in that socket that you plug in a machine, you don't hear no sound coming from it. It's silent. But it makes your machinery work for whatever you need it for. But that electricity that you're using in your house every single day without knowing throws a signal, throws a sound. There's a wave pattern. Even when I'm speaking right now, I'm speaking with tones, but there's waves coming out my mouth, right? Now, what happens with your electricity in your house? Usually, the sound that the electricity makes in the United States, they try to keep it around 60 hertz, meaning that the tone that comes out is a 60 hertz tone that we, with our ear, we cannot hear it. You understand? But they try to keep it, filter it to be at a wavelength of 60 hertz. Okay? If you know anything about electronics and how to repair them and stuff like that, you know that a lot of people use what they call oscilloscopes. And oscilloscopes do a lot of things, but it actually tells you when you're working with a machine, a radio, a CB, a ham radio, different type of things, television. It tells you what signal, what waves is coming out, and you could be, and it gives you the opportunity to see if it's correct, and you will have to correct that wave pattern in order for that machine to work properly. Okay, so with that analogy, let's say when we speak, look at it like a computer. We're speaking in a certain tone and a certain wavelength with different type of tones of letters, right? But we are sending out the information when we speak almost like fragmented, meaning that the other person that hears that sound and it's capable of defragging, meaning deciphering that package that I'm sending out. Because every time I speak, I send out a package of waves, a package of energy, you know, with certain sounds. The other person has to have the ability to decompress those sounds and hear it and understand it. It's probably a little difficult for you guys to understand in a way, but this is how it works. It's kind of like this, you understand? It's kind of like you speaking in that's the reason why we don't understand all languages, because all languages use a different package, a different encryption when they speak. The only person who's going to be able to decrypt that encryption is the person that understands that language, because they throw it out, the ear hits it, the brain decrypts it, and they understand it the same way. And that's the reason why I'm speaking in this level of computers, technology, and stuff like that, just for you guys to get a little understanding. Now, does that mean that the spirits do not understand all languages? Of course they do, because like I said, they don't have that limitation that we have with decrypting certain sounds and wave patterns. They're capable to hear all languages, because at the end of the day, all languages are just languages to us here in the physical realm. It's just sounds, tones, and waves patterns that we throw out, that some people could decrypt them, some people could not decrypt them. That's all what it is. So when it comes down to needing to know Bantu, like I said, no, but it's very good that you learn some of the most used words in Bantu, and also some of the prayers in Bantu. It will be very good and beneficial for you as a practitioner, as a member of a community, to be able to understand and socialize more frequently. And when you hear these sayings and these words, you know what they mean, and it's more better for you and for the brothers and sisters around you, and also for the ancestors, you know. There's different dialects in Africa. Not all African people spoke the same dialect. You understand? So, it's all about, like I always say, the intentions that you put in it, and that heart, that love, and that want. But other than that, you also got to understand that in Cuba, the Bantu language was mixed. That's a Bantu language that's mixed with Spanish words that the Cubans speak. And some of the slaves that stood in Cuba spoke it just like the Cubans spoke it. You understand? And you'll notice that when you hear it, it'll have some Spanish, it'll have Spanish words in it, Bantu words in it. It'll be a mixture of two. Some things will be like half Bantu and half Spanish, or like a letter that's from Spanish, or a saying. It's kind of, it's almost kind of like confusing, but and also the way the Bantu people spoke it. Remember, they tongue, the way they pronounce their words. They put out that different type of package was different to the way the Taino spoke, the Spaniard spoke. These are different packages with different encryptions that they had to learn how to decrypt and implement it to be able to learn it and speak it with other people, in that sort. But no, I don't know much Bantu myself. I try my best to learn words here and there. That doesn't take away from me. I like hearing the brothers that know how to emboal, and they go, and it's beautiful. And when they do puyas, and certain toques, it's almost like a rap battle. One is battling the other. It's so nice and everything, and it's beautiful to hear it. But doesn't make you more, doesn't make you less. Most important thing in the faith is the way you practice it. Your medicine, the way you work your medicine, the effects that it do or it does, on the other person or to yourself or to your family member. These are things that are more important than knowing how to speak Bantu. But is it good to speak, like I said? Is it good to learn some of it? Even the African-Cuban way? Yes, it's good. It's beneficial. But it doesn't take away from you not knowing how to speak Bantu fluently, or how to speak the Cuban, Latino / Bantu way of speaking. I hope you understand a little bit. I hope I didn't confuse you with the electricity analogy and the computer analogy. I just try to make things more layman, more simple, for we can understand. And just that's the way it goes. That's life. All right, guys, have a great day. Be safe. Most High, that power in Sambi and Puko, bless you guys all. Salam alaikum, alaikum salam.